The first time I came across to Maestro's music was many years ago in Venezuela, and I remember how powerful it struck and make an impression on me. Then I was lucky enough to be actually under his conducting. He used to go to Venezuela with El Sistema and work with the Simon Bolivar Orchestra, which I was part, and I was the first solo horn of the orchestra. And I remember doing many concerts with him. Uh, there's so many stories in those rehearsals. I remember there was one time that he was asking the bass drum player to play really loud, just one big fortissimo, and he was, you could see all his face getting all red and asking louder, 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 and the whole orchestra just started laughing because it was the for during that time our bass drum player, he was a quite large person. Luz Bell is his name, and he was really giving its all, and it wasn't enough. This is the way a little bit how Maestro music was. It was never enough, and at the same time it was always trying to portray a beautiful, beautiful line. Then um, that was the way how I met him. First as a player, then I got lucky enough to conduct his music when back in 2012 for the Malco competition. He did the commission piece that all the conductors we actually need to learn with only 1 month in advance before getting into the competition. I was lucky enough to be part of that competition, go into the fourth round. That was the round that we have to rehearse and play with the orchestra. The orchestra didn't have his music, the Natura Sonora number 3, and it was great. Starting, that was my first piece that I conduct of him, and it was the very beginning of a wonderful journey. I discovered even more, much more his music and the way his music talks to me. It was in a very strange way. What for me was like speaking Spanish. It was this strange connection, and then after this competition, which I happened to win the first prize, we started the relationship with him, and of course with the wonderful Lesbieta. I remember talking. He saw me and said, like, wait, I recognize you. You from Venezuela? Yes, of course, Maestro. I'm very happy to see you. And then I remember that Lesbieta invited me to come to her Beethoven festival the year after that. That was in 2012. That was in 2013 when I came back and actually play with a compendium of different orchestra from Poland. We did the Natura Sonora number 3. And that's how we started this wonderful relationship with his music. And of course, I was lucky enough to be part as well of the celebration of his 80th birthday anniversary and then his 85th birthday anniversary as well. Just back in November, that we got with Sinfonietta Cracovia, we did a reading of his 4th symphony. So amazing, such wonderful, wonderful memories, and I know, I speak from the heart. I always try to bring his music wherever I go and conduct. I brought his music to Paris. I brought his music to Belfast. I'm bringing his music to San Diego as well. And seeing the way they look at each other, Christoph and Elzbieta, it was always so inspiring, and to see that special bond and love that they have. They portray love itself, how they were like one unity all the time, all together. And of course, he has this amazing and genius in music and all together, but the way they were walking and doing everything with each other was always a good example for me. And I know that I will miss him very, very, very much.
Yes, there was something about his music which really I felt when the first time that I heard it really has had that kind of elusive power to communicate from the innermost depth of the soul. And this was something that was, when I first came across his music, that was almost unsettling to me, and it was almost a struggle for me when I was learning. The first piece I played of his was the Second Cello Concerto with Lauren Mazel in 2008, and so I learned that piece with him, and it had an extremely strong effect on me. And every piece that I listened to of his subsequently, and every piece that I played had that kind of similar effect. That it in a way so moving that it rattled me from the very core. And I didn't have, unfortunately, nearly as much personal contact with Maestro as you have had. But every time that we did meet, it was just so clear what this is a very sort of trite word to say, but an honest and really human person that he was, and it's someone that was really easy to be with, and not some intimidating figure that I had imagined in my mind when I was working through the music. And as Rafael was saying, the bond between the brilliant Elżbieta and Maestro Penderecki is something that should be inspiring to all of us. It was just it was so beautiful to see you two together, and we all cry with you today, and we miss him terribly, and we will continue to play and to study, to listen to the incredible music that Maestro left for all of us, and we will continue to pass it on generation after generation.
Absolutely. We will keep having his dream and his legacy going.
Yeah.
We will miss you, Maestro.
Thank you.